When it comes to alternative music, pop punk and punk rock are undoubtedly two of the biggest genres. Bands producing and writing this type of music tend to sell out arenas, headline festivals. Bands of pop punk and punk rock descent will feature prominently. And due to the vast popularity of this genre, there are obviously lots of bands churning out music constantly. So many, in fact, that some can definitely get lost in the vast sea of pop punk, catchy hook, upbeat drum goodness. Today we're going to talk about a bunch of underrated pop punk bands who you may have forgotten about. These bands once upon a time were absolutely huge, dominating the radio airwaves. They were featured on movie soundtracks and just were everywhere. This is obviously not uncommon in any genre, but I would say that definitely pop punk is one of those genres where there are just so many bands out there that a few just get forgotten about. If you like these kind of videos and you want me to do one on metalcore or heavy metal or anything like that, please drop a like, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button, support the channel, and let me know down in the comment section what you want to see. Band number 1, SR71. This band were popular back in 2000 to 2005, mainly for their single Right Now. This was a huge banger. Catchy opening riffs, double time drums. The chorus had an amazing hook, and it really charted well. Most importantly, this band were the original writers of 1985, the smash hit by Bowling for Soup. It was originally an SR71 song, and this turned out to be Bowling for Soup's probably their biggest hit, right next to Girl All the Bad Guys Want. That was another huge one, and this band is still very successful to this day. Sadly, SR71's second album didn't do too well, leading to record label RCA Records dropping them, a few members leaving, but they seem to have landed on their feet reasonably. Mitch Allen, the frontman, has had success as a producer and songwriter. He's written and produced with Avril Lavigne, Big Time Rush, Demi Lovato. But this band had everything going for them. Sadly, if their second album didn't do so badly, I would expect they would still be up there with others of the same genre, such as Simple Plan, Bowling for Soup, Yellow Card, Sum 41, Newfound Glory. All American Rejects. I've spoken about them quite a lot before, so I will keep it brief, but man, I love this band. Tyson Ritter is an incredibly charismatic frontman and a great, talented songwriter. By the time the guy was 19, his band were already playing the main stage at Reading Festival. If you're main stage Reading Festival material, you're definitely doing something right. They signed to Interscope Records, and in 2005 released Move Along. The title track from this album did fantastically, but most importantly, who doesn't love Dirty Little Secret? This song blew up. And it was featured in a bunch of movies such as John Tucker Must Die, She's the Man. It was getting played constantly. I would say this is probably their biggest song. Right next to 2008's Gives You Hell off the album When the World Comes Down. That's my favorite album by them. I think it's overall an underrated album. No one talks about this album from what I've seen, but I would say it's actually one of my favorite alternative rock and pop punk albums. That song Gives You Hell was huge as well, and it ended up being covered by the Glee cast, which in and of itself is a pretty good achievement because, again, that show was huge, and if your song's getting on there, then it's obviously a popular sing-along song. The Academy is, if you were a scene kid or emo kid in 2005 to 2007, you know this band with the bee's knees. Not only that, but I am sure that this band were responsible for other bands' success because the Academy is participated in so many huge banging tours and had some really good opening acts, most notably Panic at the Disco, who now are just incredible. I don't think that Panic at the Disco would have this level of success had they not hopped on tours with bands such as Fall Out Boy and The Academy Is. I honestly really don't know why this band split so abruptly. It was in 2011 when a couple of members left and shortly after The Academy Is imploded. Their 2008 album Fast Times at Barrington High did pretty well. It's not like it did so badly that it would warrant splitting only 3 years afterwards, especially as they were so popular in 2006. They never went to the next level of touring. They played good venues, they went on fantastic tours, but they never got to, say, like arena level or headlining festival level. They were still sort of a Warped Tour band, which was a bit of a bummer for them, but they had a huge following, and I would say they're now what I would describe as a cult band. They have a cult following. But yes, I think if this band had kept going and kept grinding, there's no reason why they couldn't have been as big or almost as big as Fall Out Boy, All Time Low. Son of Dork. This band had everything it could possibly take to be absolutely massive. Not only did they have a member of Busted with them, who split in 2005 but are now back together and selling out arenas and just still absolutely crushing it, but when they did split in 2005 and James Bourne formed this band, they signed to Mercury Records. Their first single went to number 3 on the charts. Their album also did very well. They got off to an absolutely huge start. They were on tours with Bowling for Soup, Wheatus, but sadly shit really hit the fan in 2007. James Bourne was getting sued in 2007 for the rights to Busted's back catalogue, which is kind of sad and very ironic considering he wrote the majority of it. Due to this, his music career was put on hold, and inevitably Steve Rushton, the second vocalist and bass player, left the band to pursue a solo career, along with David Williams leaving the band and hijacking their MySpace page, which was pretty unprofessional and a bit harsh, but it is what it is. It's sad that the band imploded because they were a major label pop punk band. They had a very, very talented roster of musicians. James Bourne is a fantastic songwriter, and with all that financial backing, all of that touring, all of that talent, and the fact that they were already going to number 3 on the UK charts, it's such a shame to see that they only managed to put out one album and then fell off, due to what seemed like very unprecedented circumstances and really quite petty disagreements, to be honest. It's time for some honorable mentions, guys. The Audition and The Starting Line. These two bands had a history similar to The Academy is. In fact, they were on pretty similar tours. Again, just burnout, fatigue, needing a break from the music industry, needing a break from the band. That was all that really happened with these bands. Nothing major, but they still to this day have a good following. In fact, when The Audition reunited for a few festivals in 2018, everyone was super excited to see it. Tonight Alive, another honorable mention. This female-fronted Australian band took a hiatus from touring a few years ago, which I can understand. If you're based out of Australia and you're touring all of Europe, all of America, it can certainly be fatiguing. Look at other bands such as the Amity Affliction, who are constantly touring, or at least before 2020 were constantly touring. We Are in the Crowd. Don't have much to say about them other than I thought in 2011 they were going to be the next Paramore or whatever. Forever the Sickest Kids, 2009's neon pop punk kings. Their music was great. Again, huge following. No reason. I think just popularity of the genre was subsiding a little bit. People were starting to listen to other kinds of music. And I've covered this extensively before on my channel, that sometimes the music industry can be a very hard place to be. There's all kinds of reasons why people wouldn't want to continue to be within this lifestyle. I've spoken to musicians who've described it themselves as just being exhausting, fatiguing, all kinds of things which people might not agree with or would want to take a break from. It's completely understandable. But it would be a shame for these awesome, amazing bands that I've mentioned, some of my favorite bands in fact, to land in the world of obscurity. And look, some of them are still together. All American Rejects are still together. Yeah, they did have to leave one of their record labels before, but they have now signed with Epitaph Records, so that's pretty cool. That's my 2 cents on underrated pop punk bands who you may have forgotten about. If there's anyone I may have missed, drop it down in the comments below. Let me know who your favorite pop punk band and what era. Was it the emo pop punk boom in 2006 to 2009? Was it the neon pop punk of like 2007 through to 2012? Easy core pop punk? Or is it the nostalgic 2000 to 2005 MTV pop punk like Blink-182 and Simple Plan? Let me know, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.